Welcome to the September 21, 2010 meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority. May we have a roll call, please?
Council members: Draymond.
Here.
Friedman.
Here.
Mincy.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Barazian.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Chair Quintero.
Here. May we have your report?
The agenda for the September 21st, 2010 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Thursday, September 16, 2010 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
What's next?
Next is approval of minutes.
I'll move the minutes. However, we're behind in the minutes. So July 6th, Mr. Najarian was absent, and on July 13th, Mrs. Barazian was absent.
All right, with those abstentions, minutes are noted and approved.
Was there a second for that?
Second.
Thank you.
And next?
Next is oral communication. Discussion is limited time, is not part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Members of the Housing Authority may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision, and the matter may be referred to staff through the Executive Director for investigation and report.
I have one card, and it is from Gary Frederickson, I believe. Yes.
The issue I have on this winter shelter is the city ordinance you guys put out in 1997.
That's a separate.
Okay.
Each homeless population.
Yeah.
Frank?
Sir, hold on. Let me, sir, let me hold you. Oral communications is for items that aren't on the agenda.
What?
So oral communications is for items that aren't on the agenda. This issue,
Separate.
it's in a joint meeting. Okay, you can speak on this issue in front of the Housing Authority. Then it's not on the meeting.
It has to do with the. It has to do with the
Winter shelter?
Housing Authority, but it has to do with the City Police Department. It's a city ordinance that was issued by your City Council that permits, they can issue traffic citations for camping overnight in the city. It's City Ordinance 9.2050. The order number is 5150, 5140.4. Issued in 1997. Called unlawful camping by a homeless individual who walks into the city, and the police have the right to remove the individual. There's a no camping ordinance on the city streets the entire year, and so many people go to jail from the end of March 6, after March 16 through the time they reopen in December. There's about, I'd say, well, some of them now are up in Acton, Warm Springs, for alcohol, for drugs, for cleaning up and getting, there's not enough housing. What we also need to do is think about opening the shelter the year round. We can, if you can ever find a site to provide for nightly, sleeping, but they can leave in the daytime, but they don't like that they do on December 1 through March 15. Last year we got shorted a total of 15 days out of the year because there wasn't enough money to finish the shelter. The shelter closed on March the 1st of 2010 of this year, and there wasn't enough money to finish the shelter. The Imago Corporation had to close the shelter, and I was one of the people that was. We had to get down to Culver City to the Federal Division to finish the last 15 days of the month.
Anything
And
else?
I'm wondering if there's a chance of getting the extension of the shelter's permit to operate year-round.
Okay. Anything else, sir? We can't get into answering.
What?
I said we can't get into answering this question right now. Is there anything else that you
No,
need
that's all.
to say? Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Fredrickson. That's the last card for oral communication. Does the staff have any response?
Well, let me just say we can get into that during the meeting on the report on the homeless shelter, but I will note that anybody who's homeless who wants to avail themselves of services and assistance anytime beyond the cold weather shelter can visit Path to Chief. Just have to be willing to get into the system, seek support and assistance through the Path to Chief program, and you can have access to it. The winter shelter is a hypothermia prevention during cold weather, principally services hardcore homeless individuals who generally do not avail themselves of those services.
Okay, thank you.
And I should point out, Mr. Chairman, members of the Housing Authority, our anti-camping ordinance, and that's the way I'll describe it at this point, it was patterned after an ordinance that was upheld by the Supreme Court in a case titled Tobe, T-O-B-E, versus City of Santa Ana. Similar language was upheld by the California Supreme Court. Our camping ordinance is patterned after that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Howard. That closes oral communications. Next.
Next on the business agenda at 6A is Director of Community Redevelopment and Housing regarding professional services agreement, amendment and contract change order for Tierra West Advisors, Inc. for continued financial and economic analysis services for affordable housing development project. At 6A1 is a motion approving change order in an amount of $50,000 for a total contract amount of $100,000 and extending the contract for an additional 2 years.
Okay, Mr. Starbird.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is essentially an open contract for an additional 2 years with Tierra West, who provides us with economic services in the analysis of the various affordable housing projects that come to you. Staff is recommending extension of the contract and continued funding.
Right, is there any comment or questions? Mr. Najarian.
Mr. Starbird, is there a certain level of, obviously there's different levels of evaluation that we can ask of a advisor and a consultant. Have we set a certain policy as to what level of in-depth review on proposals of pro formas and I guess concluding wrap-up audits that we ask generally of our consultants on these type of matters?
Yes. Mr. Chair, Mr. Najarian, we haven't had a specific policy, but we are in the process of developing a specific policy relative to that, both with respect to the type of information to be submitted by affordable housing developers, as well as, I'll call it a during development audit phase, where we'd be tracking and confirming various progress payments that may be made. We're working on that now in conjunction with our internal audit group and housing.
And will that be coming before us?
Yes, it will. It will, in the very near future.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Authority members Draymond?
Yes.
Friedman?
Yes.
Mincy?
Yes.
Najarian?
Yes.
Barazian?
Yes.
Weaver?
Aye.
Chair Quintero.
Yes. What's next?
Are there any authority member or staff comments?
Any comments? I hear none.
Move we adjourn. Second.
We are adjourned for the Housing Authority.
And the second was on the adjournment?
Mr. Weaver.
Thank you.
Okay. And for those in the TV room, we are going to be going to the joint City Council and